Hi, Hero. How's it going?
Good, nice to see you again. How are you?
I know. I said we just talked about a totally different movie, and now we're circling back.
Yeah.
Um, well, this will be like a post-release, so we can talk freely about the movie because I watched it last night. Cried a little bit, not gonna lie. Um, Obviously, the ending is a little bit different than the book. We don't sort of get those snapshots into the future. Were you shocked that the movie didn't end exactly like the book?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of nice exercising your ability as an actor to not make those decisions sometimes and to kind of just almost hide behind the tough decisions that the other higher ups need to make. But I also think it's nice leaving stuff to people's imagination sometimes and not, really finalizing anything because you always want to say never. But, we have paced ourselves to get to this point at the end. So, yeah, it was a little bit surprising, but, yeah, it's always interesting to leave stuff up for debate and not be too final with anything.
Right, because I was saying, we do see that moment at his book reading where, Tessa comes in. There's a moment where I think he maybe realizes that she's there and then she leaves. I was going to ask you, like, in that moment, as Harden, do you think, like, he knew, like, in his, like, bones that it was her and that she had left?
Yeah, I think it was one of those weird things that happen in movies a tiny bit more than real life, but they definitely do happen in real life as well, where it's in your gut and you feel like you're dreaming for a minute and you really question your own understanding of stuff. But I feel like it was a more instinctual. My soulmate is in the same room and I can feel it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
he did. I think he did.
Do you think he went after her after that?
Um, I'm sure. I'm sure he did, but maybe I don't know. Maybe it was too late. I don't know.
Well, we do know that they end up having kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So we do know that they eventually reunite, so that's good to know. But as as an actor who's been playing this character for years now, how do you feel that maybe fans don't get to see that reunion between them? Do you sort of like that sort of unknowing element of it?
Yeah, I think I do think it's nice to leave things, as I said earlier, up to interpretation. Um, Obviously, there's a frustration that comes with that, but when you watch something and you're frustrated, often that just shows how much you care. And
Yeah.
sometimes you might get to the end of a boring film and you don't have any questions for it or any thoughts or opinions because you just went along for the ride. But I feel like people have got so invested in this. I almost feel like mission accomplished if the fans do feel like that a little bit.
Yeah, I love when there's something like or in a book, like you read it and you're like, well, I think this happened, and then my friend's like, no, this happened, and then I think that
Yeah.
sort of the theories are fun.
Yes.
Harden actually goes through quite the emotional journey in this. I mean, this film definitely, dives into them much more as people and as people trying to grow into the people that they want to be. How did you feel about really getting into a lot of sort of the root of Harden and sort of trying to allow him to move forward and move on from past traumas and whatnot?
Yeah, I remember doing the first film thinking like I can't wait to get more into the stuff about why he is the way he is and not just portraying a character who has a lot to work on as a kind of just an effect and not showing the cause, because I think that's so important in storytelling and life as well, to not judge a book by its cover and wait till you fully kind of understand where someone comes from before you judge them. So it's always been welcomed for me. I've always been excited to get into that aspect of him and explore those aspects of him. Yeah.
Definitely. And we do get to see him really like come to terms and get the full truth about like his father and everything. I mean, that's been quite the journey in and of itself. I mean, how did you feel getting that resolution with him and see him finally come to terms with
Yeah,
both fathers?
I think it's so nice, and like you can just kind of let your breath out and relax when it happens because you just kind of been waiting for it. But it's also like a lot more kind of rewarding because it's taken so long and it's taken so much to make that happen. But I am very happy that they get to that place in the end. It's also interesting because it almost takes the realization that they don't have those kind of biological roles to allow him to accept them for who they are. Because before then, especially what with Vance, he's always been like a father figure. But then it's like knowing that that could have been, but wasn't, but it still kind of was anyway. It's like, I don't know, sometimes stripping the titles away makes everything almost easier.
Absolutely. And I feel like, getting past, the father situation and dealing with that trauma in the past, I feel like that was like one of the last crutches that he had to sort of become the man that he knew he wanted to be,
Yes,
knew he could be.
Definitely.
And, like I said, you've played this role for 4 movies now. I mean, that's quite a feat in this day and age when, sometimes movies don't get past 1 or, whatnot. How did you feel saying goodbye to this character that you've inhabited for so long?
It was tough. I mean, it was actually a while ago that I've said goodbye, and then we came back for press for 3, and then now we're back for press for 4. So it's been nice. Having like a long-winded goodbye kind of takes the sting out of it a little bit. So it's been a bit easier to take.
Yeah, and then there is a prequel in the works about Hardin. Do you have any, anybody in mind to play a younger you?
Oh, no, I have no idea. Jen Gibb, one of the producers, showed me a picture. She literally told me recently that they were planning to do that. I had absolutely no idea about it. And she sent me a picture of someone whose name I forgot. And I was like, wow, he could definitely play a young Hardin. So they got the looks right, if they go with him. But again, I genuinely, not just saying this, I know so little about that. She showed me a picture of someone and I was like, oh, he looks like me. And that's the extent of my knowledge on the after prequel. But I mean, I think that would be fun if the fans want to do it, then why not?
Yeah, and this franchise has become such a global phenomenon. I think more than anyone thought, even when the first one came out, and the fandom is so incredibly massive. I mean, for you being, half of what started this, how does it feel to see it expanding with prequel and a sequel in a sense? I mean, the afterworld just keeps growing.
Yeah, I mean, they always find a new way to impress us, those fans. They are so supportive, and we're so lucky to have them because we would have never been able to do this once, let alone 4 times, with them and with their help and support. So yeah, I wish them all the best, and I hope that they, get what they deserve in all other walks of after life and the afterworld.
And you have, shared this journey with Josephine. I mean, how has that been, just sort of going? It's one thing to go along in a journey like this alone, but to have someone side by side with you in terms of just tackling these characters, these films and everything. I mean, what has that, journey meant like to you?
I think the fact that it was both of our first role, the fact that it was our lead role for both of us for the first time, that's what makes it really special, because you have someone who's really like a peer and level with you, and to go through that with someone with the same understanding just makes it a really kind of level playing field, and I think that's helped us both massively. I've really enjoyed working with Joe, and I'd love to do it again on something else if we ever get the opportunity.
Yeah. What was your last day on set like? I mean, that must have been a tough day.
It was a really, it was a long day. We just had a lot scheduled for it. And kind of knowing that we're gonna say goodbye at the end was also like kind of tough. But as I say, we were filming in lockdown with strict COVID regulations for the production, doing a kind of almost 3-month shoot. So I think as much as we were sad to say bye, everyone was happy to get a bit of time off. So yeah, it was bittersweet for sure.
Well, I can't wait for the fans to be able to see this movie, and congrats on such an incredible run with this character and these movies, and I can't wait to see what's next for you.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for being here today.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care. You too.